passer rating. I believe this is passer rating. Yeah. 102.2.
It's not awful.
Not awful, no. Rogers went off and had 121.5.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. Second best, I believe, in a season.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, 112.4. Mahomes, 108.2. Cousins had a better passer rating at 105.
Gosh. That's quite something.
Yeah. I believe in a season. Deshaun Watson, 112.4. Mahomes, 108.2. Cousins had a better passer rating at 105.
Yeah, we good? Ooh.
Just making sure, yeah. Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Well, welcome to Flag on Reply.
Hello, everyone.
What should we talk about? Where should we start?
Shall I get it out of the way?
Go on, you have a rant about the Green Bay Packers game, and I'll just join in at the end with my observations.
Just so that when people ask, I can go, just watch earlier. I'm not going to explain it again.
If you're really interested...
yeah, just listen to this half-hour segment about...
about my pain.
Yeah. Yesterday was not a fun day.
No.
I had to deal with the Packers losing horrifically. I had an exam. And then the good old mental health issues decided to rear their head as well. So...
but at least Frank Lampard got fired.
I don't know if I like that call or not. I mean, I think it's the right thing to do, but I love Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
For context, I'm a Chelsea fan as well as in British football, whatever you want to call it, just regular football. The Green Bay Packers. I don't know where to start. So, I think the game was decided on that fourth down. So, the game was looking really even until kind of 2 minutes left in the half. Rodgers throws his first interception in a long time, which wasn't bad because they intercepted it at 50. They had a minute to go, or 30 seconds to go, and they just picked it off. And they had the ball on the 50. And our defense has been playing all right up to that point. And so we hold them to a couple of third. So we hold them to third down. They can hold them to third down. They convert.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. We hold them to the first. We hold them to the first third down. They convert that, obviously, because we were terrible on third down. And then we get them to fourth down. Or we get them to third down, and they bring the field goal unit out. Then they call a timeout, bring Brady onto the field. Again, to go for it. And for some reason, Mike Pettin decides now is the time on 4th and 19 with 10 seconds left in these first half. We're going to blitz. When it hasn't worked for in the rest of the game up to that point. We haven't got pressure blitzing.
Yeah.
We decide, let's blitz, let's have one-on-one coverage, man coverage in the secondary.
There was one deep safety as well.
One deep safety who's on the other side of the field, because he's trying to make sure that Mike Evans and stuff are covered. And Kevin King botches the coverage. And I think partially Kevin King to blame. He played terribly all game. He was, I think he let up 2 touchdowns in coverage and another big play in the middle of the field from his poor coverage. I think another thing is we just didn't get the greatest amount of pressure. We did well against the run for once. We had really good TFL numbers and everything, and run-stopping numbers. We held Fournette to 4.6 yards per carry. We held Ronald Jones to 1.6 yards per carry.
Yeah.
We held Brady to kind of 55% completion. But our coverage on the plays that mattered on third downs, we were terrible. We were absolutely terrible on third down.
I think that's kind
we
of
allowed 64% efficiency.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll come on to the Packers O-line and Bucs D-line in a second, but we just couldn't stop them on third down. And when we did stop them on third down, we allowed that massive fourth down touchdown and that play ended with 1 second left on the clock.
Yeah, I think Matt's kind of brought up a good point about the third downs, and I think that kind of that game was symptomatic of American football, is that you've got to play well the entire game.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to take one play off.
Yeah.
Like, in kind of British football, because it's slightly more free-flowing, you kind of, if you make a mistake, more often than not, you get the opportunity to make up for it, because there's more to it than that. Just if you get beaten by one guy, there may be another defender to come in and tackle you, and that's what I was saying about American football. It's a team game, but it's a team game of individual matchups. And also, it's not just a team game of individual matchups. You have all these downs. You can't just play on first and second down. You've got to play on third as well.
Yeah. And the Packers just didn't.
And I think that's
we held them on first and second down. A lot of the time, we held them to third and 8, third and 9, third and 7, that sort of thing, where you have to play pass defense.
Yeah.
And you force them to go. We held their running game to the point where we can say, you've got a third and long, you're going to have to pass this to get past us. And they did every time.
Yeah.
And it's like, in the second quarter, we could have had the opportunity to get a touchdown. We didn't in the end. That might have been because we threw 3 incompletions to Davante Adams on the 6-yard line when there were people open. That's another thing I have about this game, that Rodgers didn't look at his other receivers. He kind of focused on Davante Adams a little bit, and I think he should have. He focused on his initial read, and he should have looked. And there was a lot of times in that game where you could see his second or third read streaking down the field, wide open, and you think it's not a difficult throw for Aaron Rodgers to make. Can you make that? You have to make that throw. You have to be able to read that. And you have the time to be able to read that.
Yeah.
And he just didn't make it.
Yeah.
And so with that, we could have tied the game up. We could have been going into a tied game. We could have potentially been going in 3 points up, in my opinion. Instead, this appalling coverage from Kevin King leaves us 11 down to start the second half.
Yeah.
And then we fumble the ball in our first possession of the second half, which was annoying, and they score off of that. And then we get a touchdown.
Wasn't Gronk's 29 yards just on that one carry though, Matt? I'm pretty sure he touched the ball once the entire game.
Yeah, Gronk didn't have a great game. Cameron Brate had a better game. He had a touchdown. Gronk had one catch for 29.
Yeah.
Cameron Brate had 3 for 19 and a touchdown.
Okay.
But yeah, so at this point it's 28-23. Because after our touchdown we managed to get an interception and get a touchdown. Yeah. We then get another interception, and we have to punt it. We end up getting negative yards.
Yeah.
On the Tampa Bay's next drive, we get another interception. We get no yards. We have to punt it.
Yeah.
They then get a field goal, and then it gets to 4th and 8. 2 minutes left in the game. We've thrown it to Davante Adams 3 times, and we've missed on all 3 when we could have actually thrown it to another open receiver and got the touchdown there. It's 4th and 8. You kick the field goal.
Yeah.
And we're still 5 points down, and we give the ball to Tom Brady with 2 minutes left of the game to salt it away.
Yeah.
Rather than, do you trust Aaron Rodgers to get 8 yards in this game?
Yeah.
Where he threw 33 of 48 for 346 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick.
Yeah.
And either way, Brady's going to get the ball back. Wouldn't you rather have the chance to tie the game up?
The way I saw it live, the Packers had the momentum.
Yeah.
So in my eyes live, I thought it made a lot of sense because you've not only got to score a touchdown, but you've got to have the 2-point conversion. And if you don't, you said, if you don't get any of that, you've still got to give the ball back to Brady, whether you score, get the 2 points, whatever happens. So it made sense to me that you kick the field goal, and then got the extra. Still got the 2-minute warning, so you've essentially got an extra timeout. And you have the momentum. So that was that's how I viewed it anyway.
I do understand it, but our I don't trust our defense more than I trust Aaron Rodgers to get a touchdown in that situation. I do understand the call, but I think Aaron Rodgers is an incredible QB, and you're trusting a defense that hasn't been great all year to be able to stop them and then get the ball back with 30 seconds left, no timeouts, to give it back to Aaron Rodgers, who will then need to get another touchdown.
Yeah.
And this game was just marred by poor coverages, poor defensive play calling. You say the Bucs collapsed in the fourth quarter; they actually collapsed in the third.
I don't think they played very well.
I still. The Bucs playing wasn't the Bucs. This win wasn't on the Bucs.
It wasn't on the Bucs' offense anyway.
No, it was on the Bucs' D line was what won them the game.
I was going to say if anything won the game, it was that Bucs D line. I think Matt said it earlier. They played phenomenally.
Yeah. So the offense, that wasn't the Bucs. That wasn't on the Bucs getting 31 points. That wasn't on that offense. It was on the Packers defense playing absolute trash. And I think at some point you need to we need to fire Mike Pettin anyway as our defensive coordinator. Because he just... The play calling there was just terrible. And it's not been great all year, but we've managed to pull through off the back of a really good offense. But when the defense is good enough to hold us, we need we need a defense that will be able to hold teams to 20 points. So that we don't have to score 30 every game to win.
Yeah.
It was just kind of that D line was good. I think we probably should have won the game still. It's just the middle of end of third, beginning of fourth quarter. We had 3 interceptions in a row and we got 7 points total.
Yeah.
Actually, no, we got 6 points.
6 points total. Yeah.
Because we didn't get this 2-point conversion.
I wonder if Gronk does provide the team a morale boost. That would be interesting.
I don't think so. He's not that big in that team.
No, true.
In my opinion, he's not even the best tight end in that team.
He's like the third best
personally.
Tight end in that team.
Yeah.
But he's
he's not targeted as much as any other tight end in that team.
No.
So we had 2 more interceptions. We punted both times.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to convert and get points off of those.
Yeah.
And if we do that, we win the game.
Yeah.
That was the big turning point in that game. If we get those points, we win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to one of my friends from uni here, and he was supporting the Packers as well at the time because he didn't want Brady to get to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And he was going, "All right, this is exactly what the Packers need right now." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is exactly what we need. We've got an interception, we've got some points, we've got another interception. Let's go get some points now.
Yeah.
Let's put this game on our backs. We can go in the lead here." And we got 2 opportunities at that, and we failed on both opportunities. I remember just telling my friend, "This game is over now.
Yeah,
that we're not. We have the chance. We've had the chances, and we can't get anything.
Yeah,
but it's just not good enough."
Yeah, well done, Matt, for getting both games right. I got them both wrong.
Yeah, same.
I was surprised by how well.
To be honest, Chiefs surprised me. Yeah,
Chiefs surprised me as well, actually, and I actually based on the way the Packers played, I don't think they would have been able to stop Mahomes. I thought originally they were looking like the best defensive unit going in, but yeah, Mahomes
King
is a cheat code.
Yeah, he just pulls it out in big moments.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about refereeing before I explode?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about refereeing. I think, kind of in retrospect, looking back at the game, you just go apart. So I'm going to talk about the flag, the controversial flag, at the end of the game, because I want to talk a little bit more about refereeing because I've done some research. And I think you'll find what I have found out very interesting.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you get up. So whether you agree with them taking the field goal or not, they've kicked the field goal. Buccaneers have the ball.
Yeah.
And so what you're looking at now is a third. I think it's like a 3rd and 8 or something. If they convert it, Bucks win. If they don't, they're punting it to the Packers, who then have that opportunity to go get that touchdown.
Yeah.
That's the situation. Brady throws it, misses the guy, and the flag is thrown. And it's
sorry, I'd like to interject here. It misses the guy. Then there's a 5-second pause with one Bucks player complaining to the ref for kind of a good 3 or 4 seconds, and the ref then decides to throw the flag.
Yeah. So
I agree the flag probably should have been thrown in a normal game. We'll get on to how this game's been refed anyways. But in a normal game, you understand the flag. I don't understand why they throw the flag so late.
Well, I've heard explanation I've heard.
You watched the play. You've watched the play go on. You can't. It's very difficult to rewind that in your head and go, okay, I've seen the play right in front of my eyes. Was there a flag? Was there not a flag? I'm going to wait 4 seconds, and then I'm going to throw a flag.
Yeah, the explanation I've heard for the flag being late is... So the flag is called for him grabbing onto his jersey, and so the guy who is kind of side on is not going to see that. The guy who's going to see that is the ref who's at the back of the play. And if you look where he is,
he's the one who ends up throwing the flag.
That's what I mean. Is he's got to, because it's a spot foul, he's got to run up to the place where the foul happened to throw the flag. Which is probably why it's late, because the guy on the sideline probably didn't see it, whereas the guy at the back probably did, and he took his time because he's got to run down the field to go throw the flag. So that's the one explanation I've heard. It's a bit of a dodgy explanation, but
yeah, I don't really agree with that.
It was so that's the one explanation I've heard. So I've written some notes down as well for how I think. So number one. I think the thing we have to bear in mind is that the game was not decided on this flag.
No.
I think we need to bear in mind that the Packers don't necessarily score if this flag is not called.
No.
So that's my first thing. However, my second thing is, the Packers were very clearly upset. There was a lot of talk about it. And so I don't understand why. However, it did. This is my Matt. You've beaten me to my point. I don't understand why this play was not reviewed. Because yes, it didn't guarantee a Packers. Yes, throwing the flag didn't remove the opportunity, remove Green Bay a win. However, it did seal the Bucks winning.
Yeah.
And because it is such a game-changing decision, it won the Bucks the game. I don't understand why the play was not reviewed.
Yeah.
And
they ended up reviewing the play after. Was the thing.
Which again,
and they weren't even reviewing it for a penalty. They were reviewing it for a clock.
Well,
for what time was going to be on the clock.
And that's what I can't get. Is the game at that point is over? Why are they reviewing that play and not the one before it?
Yeah.
And so that's...
And can we also talk about the myriad of penalties that should have been called before that one?
Well, see, this is what I'm going to get onto, and this is what was part of my bigger point. The refs refereed the entire game with this attitude, that let them fight, let them battle, let them have at it. And I appreciate that. Actually, I don't hate that. I kind of
majority of it was okay.
yeah. Like
There was just a couple of calls that just were completely missed.
Yeah.
And when you put it into the context of you're flagging that play,
that's the thing that bazaars me.
Compared to all of the others.
This is what my greater point is. There is a complete lack of consistency in how that game is refereed.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm most annoyed about with this refereeing. I don't disagree with the call. I think the call is probably the right call. But I disagree with how you've reffed the game before. If you're calling that in the final 2 minutes, you have to call things like that in the first 58. You can't change the refereeing mid-game.
Yeah, exactly. I think I personally...
Seemingly to benefit one team over the other.
Yeah. I understand. So that was my other point. So my first point, it doesn't kind of mean that the Packers win, but because it means the Bucks win, it needs to be reviewed. And so the inconsistency in the refereeing, that was my second point. My third point, I can that I've written down. Actually, my third point doesn't make sense, so I'm going to go to my fourth point.
You had a fourth point.
Let me think this through. I disagree with the call because I've watched it over and over and again. I disagree with the call, or I disagree. Let me put it like this: I don't disagree with the call, but I disagree with the decision to not review it.
Yeah.
So let me explain myself. Chat, feel free to tell me I'm wrong. This is what I saw. I'd love to know what other people saw. I see him holding onto the jersey. I see that.
Yeah.
So if anything, that's a holding call, I think.
Yeah.
Also, as far as so rather than defensive pass interference, which was called. Secondly, lots of people say that holding the jersey meant that it slowed the other guy down. I personally did not see that. The other thing that really bothers me about watching it back slowly, the other guy dives. The other guy, so I think it's Tyler Johnson, the rookie receiver.
Yeah, on Kevin King.
He jumps. He is not pushed.
Yeah.
He is not tripped. He jumps.
He still has the ability to jump. And try and go for the ball.
Exactly. And this brings me to my the point on top of that. The ball is nowhere near him. The ball. Okay, maybe if he's not holding onto the jersey, he's able to jump straight upwards and catch the ball, but the ball lands about 5 yards away from him.
Yeah.
And so this is
and
why
Kevin King has decent coverage at that point.
But he has decent coverage because he's holding. And
but before the hold, he's in a decent position.
Yes. And so, Matt, I agree with you. This is where I disagree with the decision to not review it. Because if it's a holding, it's still a first down. If it's a holding call rather than defensive pass interference, it's still a first down.
Yeah. It was a 3rd and 4, and holding would have taken it to a first.
Yeah, it would have been a 5-yard penalty, down. I think. So,
yeah.
You don't get much diving in the AFL. And that's what... And this was...
And I don't think it is diving.
No, I don't think he is diving, but it's...
But he's so far away from the ball that even if he does dive it, he's nowhere near it. It's a...
Yeah, This is more... I think Matt,
Sorry,
I've
just looked at a different angle from this, and the throw is so wildly away from the play.
This is my main problem with the decision, and Matt, you like you say, he is holding the shirt. You can't. He should in some way be penalised for it.
Yes.
But this is kind of what bothers me. Is they just called defensive pass interference and went with it. Yeah. And they didn't review it. One, it was such a game-changing decision, and they didn't review it for that. And if they reviewed it, I think they would discover that they would look at... I think they would be able to make a more informed decision. Like, this is a massive game-changing decision. Like, I feel like they would be able to make a more informed decision. Look at whether the ball could have been caught or not, because that's a massive difference. Whether the guy dived or not, that would have made a massive difference. But I think ultimately, whether the call should have happened or not, I agree with you, Matt. On both your points, he's holding the shirt. I think that's the thing, is we can't, if we're looking at this retrospectively, we can't say that this decision would have kind of gone the other way, would have led to a Packers win, because actually I think it's how Kevin King's been playing the entire game. He hasn't played very well the entire game, and this is just another example of it.
Okay, I'm just going to paste a link into the chat, and I want you to watch that and show me if there is a clear holding call on that. This is my biggest grievance.
See, this is where I kind of disagree, Matt, on the diving. It is smart from the attacker, but that's the thing, is it's not very sportsmanlike. He got the flag anyway, or maybe that's the point. Maybe he wouldn't have got the flag anyway, and that's what frustrates me. Yes, King shouldn't have been holding. Absolutely, that's wrong. But if the only reason they got the flag is because the guy dived, that's really unsportsmanlike. That doesn't. Because this is my point again. If he doesn't dive, they then potentially review it and give it the flag. Also, if he doesn't dive, potentially the fact that it was overthrown means he doesn't get the flag. I feel like because he dived, all these other factors may have been taken into consideration.
Yeah, and I think you look at that holding call, and then you look at the one I've just put into the chat, and you think the one that I've just put there on the Bucks is on a crucial 3rd and 11 that we probably would have converted if there had not been the hold and Alan Lazard run the same route. Because Aaron Rodgers throws it on the money.
And that was the other thing for me, just with inconsistency, was the fact that there were other. So one, I don't think it was defensive pass interference. I think it was holding. And basically the difference is, Matt, I saw you comment earlier. It's he's basically holding, like defensive pass interference is interfering without holding, basically.
And he's not really slowed by the hold either. So it's just it's a misthrown ball as well.
Yeah,
it's not even close. And if you're going to have to call that, you call the pass interference, you call the hold on Alan Lazard earlier in the game.
And that was sort of that was the point I was trying to make, is that they had holds throughout the game, so why is this one defensive pass interference and not holding? That was sort of my thought process.
I mean, this one hasn't been called either, the one I put in chat.
Right.
And I think that had we got that, we would have not had to punt. He did get slowed down a little, I think, is the thing. And if you look at it, it's off the line of scrimmage directly that he's being pulled. And then even then, as he's going, it allows the defender to get the first step on him with that pull. And that's why it's a penalty. That's why you call these holding plays. It's not always necessarily that the player gets slowed. Often it's that the defender gets the step on him. And I think that didn't really happen with this later one we're talking about, the one that was called. Was that Kevin King didn't get a step on him, and Jalen Johnson was still... Tyler Johnson, sorry. Was still in the position to make the catch had the ball been thrown at the right place.
So are you ready to hear my research?
Go on.
And this is... So, following that play, I kind of think... to conclude that play, I think my conclusion just to that play is... Actually, whatever was called doesn't matter, because it doesn't... to conclude that play, I'm bothered they didn't review it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But ultimately, it doesn't matter, because there's no guarantee that it resulted in the Packers getting a game-winning opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, even... Sorry, I'm just responding to Matt. Even if he dives, even if he doesn't dive, if he doesn't... Or with this Lazard one, even if he doesn't slow down, it's a holding. That's why I think I do agree with the call that it was a Kevin King hold. It wasn't a Kevin King pass interference.
Yeah.
whereas this is a clear hold on Al Hazard. And even if you don't slow down, it's still a hold. You're not allowed to hold.
Yeah.
Just ever.
I'll be looking forward to Sam the Statman learning the rule book so that we can go through these things.
Yeah.
And so there's not a penalty for diving, Tory, because, well, it doesn't happen, really. Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. I will get to that.
No.
It's a great topic to consider, and I have an opinion on that. And I've tried to be really unbiased, because for a long time I have really disliked Tom Brady. But then this year I've tried to go, okay, let's be honest, let's have a look, let's have an honest look at what have an honest look at him as a kind of a person and a player, and go, okay, where am I coming? I'll do that now. I'll go back to my refereeing thing.
Go on.
I think Tom Brady is the GOAT, but I don't think he's the best quarterback of all time.
Yes.
So what I'm saying...
I say a similar thing, but I say Brady is the most accomplished QB of all time. There's no doubt he's the most accomplished QB of all time. He's the most successful QB of all time.
Yeah.
He is not the best player of all time.
No, and that's where I stay. And I think that's true of this season, and I think it's true of previous seasons. So, Sam the Statman, feel free to correct me. But as far as I'm aware, Tom Brady has only led the league in kind of passer rating, passing yards, passing touchdowns, all of these sorts of things, 5 or 6 times over his 20-year career.
I don't know how I'm going to look this up, but I'll try and get back to you.
I think if you look on Wikipedia, his accomplishments, I think it comes out.
Okay.
Sorry, and that's 5 times kind of across all the categories. So there's at least 3 categories there: passing touchdown, passing rating.
Okay, to be fair, 4-time passing touchdowns leader, 3-time passing yards leader, 2-time passer rating leader.
Okay, sorry, I was wrong. But even then, that's how many? That's, what, 9 different awards out of a possible 60? Or let me put it like this. If he's been to the Super Bowl 10 times... That's 10 seasons where he's supposedly been amazing. He's only won 9 awards out of a possible 30 then.
Yeah.
And that, like, again, still great, but I don't think it's, like, kind of best quarterback of all time.
Let me say something else here. I'm going to use Aaron Rodgers as an example. This isn't Packers bias, for once. To be fair, Rodgers is only 5 times led, 3 times in passer rating, 2 times in touchdowns. Rodgers has the single highest season passer rating. He is the lowest interception percentage in a season. Has the most consecutive passes without an interception. Fastest QB to 400 career passing touchdowns. Most seasons with 35 plus touchdowns passes. Most seasons with 40 plus total touchdowns. Most seasons with 40 plus total touchdown passes. Most seasons with 45 touchdown passes. Most seasons with 120 plus passer rating.
Yeah. So I think
those are all NFL records. Those are not single season.
So I'm not saying by any means that Brady is a bad quarterback. By any means. Like I said,
Brady's a great quarterback.
Very good quarterback. I'm just not saying statistically he is clearly not the best. I think we've just proved it there. So I was looking. Whilst we're praising Brady, I was kind of looking at him as a quarterback and like looking at what he's good at. And I think one of the things that Brady's best quality is his intelligence. He is.
Yes.
Not only is he incredibly clutch, kind of meaning that
he turns up in the big moments.
He turns up in big moments, and actually, ultimately, that's all you need your quarterback to do. He's not only just intelligent in terms of kind of his mentality and his clutchness and being prepared for the game. He's also a really smart guy. Like, you watch him being blitzed, he can take a couple of steps and be out of it. And he's not a mobile guy. So, so that's another part of it. And also I think that was one of the great things about him and Belichick, was that Belichick created a scheme where it gave him that used his intelligence, allowed him to read the field, and that's why they had lots of checkdowns, because if Brady wanted to throw it deep, he very much could have. But he just knew that it wasn't the right decision, and so they had lots of checkdowns ready for him to be smart, to read the field, and then make that play. I would probably argue, yes, absolutely, Matt, he's probably the best 6th round pick of all time.
Absolutely, without a doubt. But you look at things like completion percentage.
So this is where
and
I have a problem.
He's not in the top 10 of all time. He's 19th all time.
So
tied with Mitch Trubisky.
So this is my problem when it comes to saying that Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time. In kind of people are odds, yes, it's because he's had a long career, but if you look at these playoffs,
that's the thing I will say about Brady. His longevity is incredible.
That's another thing to praise. Another thing to absolutely praise Brady for. Is his longevity. It's absolutely phenomenal what he's been able to accomplish over so many years, and how he's still in the elite category of quarterback despite his age. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I think we need to stop. I think we need to realise when it comes to all quarterbacks, again, I'm going to use Aaron Rodgers in this relation. Aaron Rodgers played very well in that game, apart from one dodgy interception.
Yeah. It was a bit dodgy. It was a contested ball.
And they lost that game. But he had a fine stat line. Now you look at... Sam the Statman, could you get me Brady and Rodgers' stat lines up?
Yep.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers was 33 of 48, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah. So, and what was Brady's?
Sorry, just working out the completion percentage. He went 68.75% completion.
Yeah.
Brady went for about 55% completion percentage. He went 20 of 36 for 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yeah. And so there's very much one clear better quarterback. And
in that game.
In that game. Also, Brady is averaging 55% completion percentage in the playoffs. In the season, I think he did a little bit better. But in these playoffs...
He was averaging 64, I believe.
Yeah, that's okay. That's what he should be going for. If
or
not
60.
A little bit more.
Have a look. He was 65.7, which is still lower than... Which is the 19th highest completion percentage this season.
Yeah. So I think the thing... And also, those 3 interceptions were awful. And also, if you look at the 3 touchdowns, they were all wide open. And this is... And
the touchdowns were on Kevin King and the Packers defense, rather than Brady being able to throw receivers open.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Is that's again his intelligence. Like that's why Bruce Arians called the kind of this Hail Mary-esque play at the end of the first half. It's because he knows if one of those guys in one-on-one coverage is going to be open, Brady will find them. It's not necessarily, and this is the kind of why he's much better than Jameis Winston. Yes, Jameis Winston may be able to throw for the yards and again play well. Winston would just pick a guy and throw. Brady will kind of scan the field and pick the guy that's open and throw it. Winston would have been able to make that pass, but he may not have made it. That's the difference.
Yeah.
And so
Whereas Brady knows what he can make and what he can't make. Yeah. And he chooses very, very well. And
I think, and you're absolutely right, Matt, to think about the players around him. I think we forget that American football's a team game. Fair play. Yes, fair play. Brady's done amazing to get to where he is, but he also has potentially the best wide receiver core in the league around him. He has
absolutely.
Kind of a top 5 O-line. And
I would like to address Matt's comment saying the first Bucs touchdown, Brady was amazing. No. that was again Kevin King botching up coverage. Yeah. Yes, it was a good throw, but every QB is expected to be able to throw a back shoulder fade.
Yeah. And I would argue
it was essentially meant to be a back shoulder fade, and he didn't manage to get it to the back shoulder.
and I would actually argue the passes leading up to it were great, but they're all third downs.
Yeah.
If you watch, I kind of watched the whole game, that it was really it was a really frustrating drive to watch, because first and second down, whether it was a pass or a run, it went nowhere, and then just suddenly third down,
15 yards, 20 yards on the third down.
Yeah. So
it was the worst game to watch as a Packers a Packers fan.
Again, fair play for making the throws. Again, fair play for making those reads. But you also had fantastic wide receivers who could make those catches.
Yeah.
And also, Packers defense just decided on those plays to not cover. It was, and that's what we were saying earlier about kind of. So yes, in response to the earlier comment, I've gone a long way around, but it was something I wanted to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
I think Brady is a very good quarterback. Absolutely. I don't think he may be the greatest player of all time because of his accomplishment, his longevity, being able to be elite over many years. I just don't think we can call him the greatest quarterback of all time, because I think there are other players who have played the quarterback position better than him, and I would argue that Aaron Rodgers is one of them. And that's
Drew Brees as well has been amazing. Recently he's dropped off. That's why I don't quite put him up there anymore.
I will do some statistic analysis kind of down the line to work out where kind of they would be in the grand scale of things, but just using Aaron Rodgers as an example is a good one.
I would put Peyton Manning up there as one of the best of all time. He was incredible at reading the field, knowing what the coverage was before the snap, and then being able to dice up the coverage.
So that's something I was going to talk about anyway. And so, fair play to Brady for getting to Super Bowl. But I wanted to say more. Fair play to the Bucks. They were the 5th seed, and they've been killing it. And so I think fair play to them. But that's what I mean, is I think the accomplishment actually deserves to go to the defense, because they have shut down all the teams they've played. And so I finally getting around to my refereeing point. Are you ready for this, Sam?
Go on.
So I did some research, because I was like, I'm annoyed that wasn't reviewed. Let's kind of work out. So we said last week that referees should be held accountable, and so I was kind of looking at that. I was looking at that call and kind of thinking about the game, and I was like, okay, do referees get held accountable? And did some research. I found it interesting. Guess how often referees are reviewed?
Is it once a year?
No.
Is it less?
No.
Okay, is it once every 2 weeks or something then?
Referees are reviewed every single play.
Ah.
Which is, I know, I was not expecting. I was not expecting, but this is where it gets interesting. Okay, the NFL, number one, and this is where I disagree with the NFL. The NFL does it, so they don't have an outside body holding them accountable.
Yes.
And that's where I disagree with it. But the NFL apparently they what they used to do, and they don't anymore, which I also disagree with. They used to grade referees on every single play.
Yeah, so I agree with that.
And I agree with that. I absolutely do. But the NFL has recently changed that. So I like the grading system as well, and the grading system
so much.
So the grading system, basically, if you got good grades, you were allowed to referee in the playoffs. And there was a referee saying it worked quite well as a system because you wanted good grades, like a kid at school. You want good grades, and and good grades in this sense means you get to go to the playoffs and stuff, and that's awesome. And but they've changed it recently because whoever was doing this reviewing decided that grading wasn't very helpful. I don't know. I can't remember why they decided it wasn't very helpful. And so now they've switched to an upgrade-downgrade system. So it looks at so they look at a play and they go, if they've done badly, it's a downgrade. If it's fine, it's fine. And so, and that's how they debate.
That makes me angry.
I know. And really interestingly, I looked. A guy was reviewing a controversial call from a game.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got Peyton Manning. Here we go. Interestingly, the guy reviewing this said that referee would not have been downgraded for that particular controversial call because he was following the rules, or he was following the system that was put in play for the referees. And so basically, So what I got from that is that referees are absolutely reviewed every single play. So something really, really awful will be downgraded. They are being reviewed, but controversial calls specifically, they may not be downgraded for because they may have refereed it properly, even if they got the wrong call, or even if they got something. It's only if they got something wrong about refereeing that it makes a difference.
And that's kind of what I disagree with.
And exactly, and I think that's so. It was really useful to know that actually they are being watched. It's which is really good to know. It's good to know that they are being held accountable. But I think actually, I think you'd agree with me. Based on what we've seen, actually they need to be held to a higher accountable. They need to go either back to that grading system or get someone outside to do it.
I mean, I think about it and I think refereeing used to be a lot better.
Yeah.
It used to be a whole lot better. And so, it's obviously they were doing something right in the past. And, I agree with you, Matt. If they get the wrong call, even if they've refereed it right and you get the wrong call, I think you have to downgrade.
Yeah, I would agree as well, but that's just not.
I would also say give them the grade system again, because the upgrade downgrade thing, it's going to go, you've done well all the way through and you've got one play wrong.
Yeah.
That's not going to... Are they weighting these, I think, is the thing as well.
Yeah.
Are they weighting them by how... Because upgrade downgrade doesn't give us an idea of how they're saying, you got this call right and it was a tough call to get right, but you did. We're going to give you a bigger upgrade. Or you've got this blatant thing wrong. We're going to give you a bigger downgrade. That's what I like. That's why I like the idea of this upgrade downgrade, or this grading system.
Yeah.
You can say, you've got this play clearly wrong, you've done horrendously, we're going to give you an F or whatever. And then you've got this play that really well done, we're going to give you an A. And that balances, so that even if you get a lot of A's or a lot of B's or whatever, you've still got that F that brings the average down.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think it would be the same sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
In an upgrade downgrade.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, they do have refs in New York who overturn these things, but you still get missed calls and you still get things that can't be reviewed, like that Chiefs play against the Browns. You can't review that, and it's stupid. Why can't you review penalties that are blatant safety issues?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't make sense.
No, absolutely. And that's the sort of play that you don't know whether they've got a downgrade or not after the game.
And that's the thing. Like, it's nice to know that there is a check in place.
Yeah.
As much as I don't agree with the system, I think it's nice to know they are being checked, but we're not seeing any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So we're not seeing anything saying this ref won't go to the Super Bowl, this ref won't do another playoff game next year. And I'm just going to respond to Tori saying the NFL doesn't care about safety. It supposedly does. That's one of the biggest things they try and stop, is they had to go at Antonio Brown for wearing a wrong helmet because it wasn't safe anymore, supposedly. They're trying to cut down on all of these safety-related penalties. They've introduced penalties to protect the quarterback over the last couple of years. They're doing extra things to protect players, and then they're not allowing you to review when a massive, a flagrant foul of player safety proportions has actually occurred.
Yeah.
I hope that sentence made sense.
Yeah, I think that's the annoying thing, and like Matt's saying, clear and obvious error is this phrase that the NFL use a lot, that for referees, as if it's not clear and obvious, they're not going to overturn it. And that's the annoying thing, is then it comes down to human decision. You could have thousands of fans at home going, that's clear and obvious to us, but the referee in the stadium may see something different. And at the end of the day, it's up to that one human being, not the thousands watching at home.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets really frustrating. And that's kind of what...
Do you want to hear something that's going to make you mad?
Always.
Daniel Sorensen has not been fined for his hit in the Chiefs-Browns game. A fine would acknowledge that the officials screwed up by not throwing a flag when it was a clear helmet-to-helmet, and the NFL has decided we're not going to suspend you for this, and have now decided we're not going to fine you for this.
Yeah. I've done some research into that as well, and I've seen some people say that because the guy's diving, he's going lower as well, so it's not Sorensen's fault for hitting him. But then the league needs to...
I've seen penalties called for when a play. So this was Bucks Packers earlier this year in the regular season. Aaron Rodgers goes down with his head. Someone smacks him in the helmet.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers is considered down on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
Because he apparently gave himself up.
Yeah.
And if he's given himself up, then it's then a penalty for hit on defensive player, and that's not been called.
Yeah.
And they're saying that it wasn't called because Aaron Rodgers wasn't defenseless, when you're saying he was down because he was defenseless.
Yeah, I think this is the inaccuracy that the NFL needs to work out. If they really care about player safety, what the referee does in the game is what the referee does in the game. Like, they get things wrong,
yes.
We'll try and forgive them for that.
Yeah, Matt's just said surely there's a team of refs in New York, and there is.
But it's a bit like VAR in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They are allowed to bring things up, but they're not allowed to change the call. They're allowed to highlight something to the ref, but the ref on the pitch still has to be the one to decide things. And I think it works in a similar way in the NFL.
And the problem is with hits like the one Daniel Sorensen's one on in the Browns game, is you can't review those plays. So you can see that it's happened, but you can't change the rule. You can't review it and say there's actually this penalty on this play.
Yeah.
You can only review certain penalties, and it's stupid that you can't review player safety penalties.
Yeah. And that's what I was just about to say, is that if the NFL really cares about these things, it doesn't matter what went on in the game, the NFL needs to look at it afterwards and go, okay, that's a helmet-to-helmet. We need to maybe not fine that player, but we need to release a statement and say, this sort of hit is not okay. Players need to learn to tackle differently, and so that we can look after and protect our players. Because if the NFL goes, oh, we'll go with what the referee did, whether it's right or wrong, it's like, but what about the player who is like critically injured because of what you did? Like, you've got to bear all these things in mind.
And this is another thing that I think is
it's been awful.
They've been absolutely awful, and they've been awful all throughout the season, and we've talked about it throughout the season, and it's somehow gotten worse potentially in the playoffs, and that's made me incredibly annoyed. But it's also I was going to talk about it. I can't remember what it was. But it's with this helmet tackling. Often it affects the player tackling more than it does the actual player getting hit as well. So at some point you've got to say this sort of tackle isn't okay. You're going to injure yourself, or give yourself a concussion and further brain damage along the line, as well as the other player. Like, that sort of thing is not okay.
Yeah.
For player safety and for player health.
Do you think it has anything to do with lack of fans? I mean, it's the first major difference between this season and any other season. It shouldn't do.
No. No, because we've had terrible calls before, and we've had years of terrible refereeing before.
I can see how if you think about the whole situation, I can see how having a crowd of angry fans would potentially make you think a second time about making a call, as opposed to not having fans in the stadium. But I think ultimately you would hope that the integrity of the refs means that they'd make the right call, whatever.
Yeah.
I think so. Having fans there helps the refs be more impartial, because they've got to consider that they're letting human beings down if they get it wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing that the refs haven't seen this call that we've made terribly has swayed a game.
Yeah.
This call that we've made near the end of the game, this has decided what's happened, and we've made the wrong choice.
Yeah.
And that's happened in the regular season, and it's happened now in the postseason. And I think that the refs need to publicly say, we've got this wrong. We're going to try and improve on these things.
Yeah. Well, and also, so looking up this ref thing, I thought it was really cool that we've got a female ref in the Super Bowl, because it means she's good at her job. Like, she's earned this. She's like, it's.
Yeah.
I think that's what a world.
Do you want to know the horrible thing that I was seeing? Was I saw that it was released on one of the NFL meme pages I follow on Instagram, and they posted it as well. Like, yeah, congratulations. And so many of the comments were saying, "Oh, she'd better do a good job."
Yeah.
It's
like she's good at her job. That's why she's there.
If she misses a call, then we know why, and things like that. And I'm just kind of thinking, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Like, she's obviously she's going to referee the Super Bowl because she's good at her job, and you can't blame someone missing a call off of their gender, of all things.
No.
Like, yeah, it's just. It's silly. Like, yeah, exactly. The men clearly don't do a good job of refereeing, so why are you putting extra pressure on the female referee to do well?
Do you want to hear other great...
I believe she's a down judge, which is kind of one of the easiest ref roles, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, they're making...
But she's obviously done a good job, yeah.
Because it's a first. Do you want to hear some other great firsts?
First black female assistant position coach was hired recently.
Yeah. Robert Saleh will be the first Muslim head coach.
Oh, nice. Was it Colts DC? No, who was it?
I don't know.
First Native American defensive coordinator.
Oh, cool. I'm really. That's.
I'm trying to find out who it was.
Yeah. It's just good to see. I like you. I see a lot of comments kind of saying, "Why is it important?" Like, we just care that.
Yeah.
I've seen comments kind of opposite of yours, and it's like saying, actually, we don't care about the fact that kind of they're black. We don't care that she's a woman. We don't care this, that, and the other. We just want them to do their job. And part of me agrees with that. Yes. They just need to do their job well. But at the same time, like Tori's comment is a great one. If we acknowledge that these people are the first to do it, we are acknowledging that our world has changed. That kind of people in that community are feeling willing to go into that career, and they're pioneering a way for others to go into that career. Like, I don't comment on a lot of social media things because it does not go away.
No.
But if I could comment, I would say something like, it may not matter to you, as kind of as in our position as kind of white men, because we see white men in kind of in all the referees, like most of the referees are white men, or most of the coaches are white men, and all of these things. But it will matter to. It will matter to anybody who is not a white man who wants to go into an NFL coaching or refereeing position, because it means that other people, other people like them have gone before and done it, and it means that it's possible for them as well, and it means that they won't have to do the hard work. They may not have. I say may. They may still have to, but it means that they may not have to do the hard work that these people who have done it for the first time have done.
Yeah, I do think that's a really good thing. It's making it easier for more people from around the world of different backgrounds and nationalities and races to come together and be a part of something.
Yeah.
I think there's still a long way to go.
I think there's a long way to go, but actually, I'm.
But it's good that there are these steps.
Yeah, and I think one of the worries we both had about the NFL being like, racism is wrong sort of thing, was like, are they actually going to do anything about it? But the fact that the league
Yeah.
is slowly becoming more diverse is maybe a sign that actually maybe times are changing. Maybe things are.
You do say that, and you do see little bits of it. However, you think only one
Yeah.
head coach of minority was
This is something I was talking to Tori about
hired
the other
this
day.
year.
This really bothers me. Why has nobody waited for Eric Bieniemy? So we're going to talk about. We're an hour in, and we're going to finally talk about the Chiefs game. But I'm going to, but I'm going to start with talking about Eric Bieniemy. And actually, Kat's made a great point before we go on to, go into that. That, if there's going to be more kind of games on Nickelodeon and they're going to be kind of showing kids as much as adults, then like you say, they're going to see people like them. What was that? There are just great examples kind of all over. It's not hard to find them on the internet of even professional athletes saying that their kids are now seeing people like them on screen and wanting to go into those jobs, when beforehand they were potentially like, no, it's not my place.
Yeah.
And it's like, but yeah, Chiefs game. Chiefs offense, we can all agree, has been potentially the best offense in the league for the last kind of 3 years. Potentially challenged by Lamar Jackson's MVP year, but I would arguably still say Chiefs best.
But the Chiefs have managed to consistently defeat teams who know what they're going to do. So whereas you can now beat the Ravens because you know what they're going to do.
Nice to see a Muppet in the NFL as well. And who is kind of one of the centerpieces of that? Obviously, you've got great players in Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, kind of all those guys. But a big piece of that is offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, a black man. And you look at the Jaguars.
He's one of the best offensive coordinators in the league.
And this is,
he's got the backing of Andy Reid saying he would be an incredible head coach.
Yeah.
That's Andy Reid, who's won a Super Bowl now with the Chiefs, was incredible with the Eagles and the Chiefs, is one of the best head coaches of all time.
Eric Bieniemy himself has also said, I want to be a head coach. Wow, Madden just did what? Anyway, and it does not make, and this is part of what back-to-back Super Bowls with his offense as well. Thank you, Tori. Great comment.
Found it.
Go on.
Chicago hiring Sean Desai to be its new defensive coordinator, the first person of Indian descent to become a coordinator.
As in
the NFL.
Native American or actually Indian?
I believe actually Indian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just says Indian here. I don't have any. I would have said Native American, anyways, if it's So I believe that's...
And this is what bothers me with the hirings. I think most of, if not all of the hirings for head coach have been great candidates. Like, you can't. I don't think there's been a really poor decision. But though there hasn't been like a really poor decision, I don't understand why someone like the Jaguars have taken a risk on a college head coach who has never coached in the NFL.
Yeah.
And haven't gone, you know what, we're going to wait. So I understand, like Robert Saleh, that you go and get that guy as quickly as possible. Like, I understand that.
Robert Saleh's great.
But the Jaguars interviewed 3 guys and then essentially waited for Urban Meyer to decide whether he was actually going to coach for them.
Yeah.
He decides that he does, and they go with him. Why? I mean, if he shows his quality, there's nothing that stops Bieniemy from becoming a head coach. Exactly, and that's sort of the thing that people... That's the sort of thing that we have a problem with, is that why have a team like the Jaguars taken a risk on a head coach that hasn't played, who hasn't coached in the NFL...
Who's been a couple of years out of coaching college football.
Yeah. But couldn't be bothered to wait maybe like a month to interview... Yeah. And sorry, I say wait a month. The Chiefs allowed Bieniemy to go interview even during coaching in the playoffs.
Yeah, so that's something the NFL's allowed this year, which I think is really good. They've allowed coaches or coordinators to have interviews during the bye week of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which I think was really good and definitely worth it.
Yeah. But then nobody... But then... Yeah, and sorry, going on my Jags thing. Urban Meyer hasn't coached a couple of years, hasn't coached NFL. You've gone of him instead of leading offense in the last 3 years. Cat trying to spell Equanimous St. Brown. Yeah, lots of hard to spell names in the NFL. And so I get it. Like, I think Tori makes a good point as well. They didn't want like all the teams to go for a bidding war and then lose, and when they could have had a head coach for a month beforehand.
I mean, but you've got to think, if every team waits, then every team has the chance to pick up who they want.
Yeah, it's basically like everyone's gone, we would rather risk getting a worse guy than... Like, it just...
Then, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you could ask Jones why they went for what they did, but we're just speculating now. Yeah, absolutely, Matt. And that's sort of the problem, is we're sitting here like... Maybe everyone who interviewed him were like, actually, we prefer the other guy we interviewed. It's just from an outside perspective, it doesn't...
Why hasn't he got a head coach?
Why hasn't he been hired? He is the perfect candidate for that job. But I think that's the thing, is I'm not suggesting it's kind of it's racist or anything, because like we've just said, the league is clearly becoming more diverse, and which is... I mean,
that was something that I wanted to bring up though in the conversation, was that the NFL is they have kind of incentives and things for teams to hire coordinators and head coaches who aren't white men.
Yeah.
Essentially. And you get every team this year in the head coaching carousel who, apart from the Jets who picked up Robert Sauer, picking a white man.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a similar thing. So I believe it was 2018, there were 8 black NFL head coaches. I think there are only 4 at the moment. And so it's kind of like, what, and it's a lot of the time it's on the owners. Are they going to hire them?
Yeah. And I think we will eventually see change. But
I don't think it's going to come until a lot of the old white owners are going to...
Yeah, but I think that's what I've been really interesting. You look at the Lions, who are now owned by... I was going to say young. I don't know how young she is. She's not that young, is she? She's kind of...
No. Sheila Ford Ham. No, she is... Yeah, she's... no, that's the wrong person.
Either way, my point is, the owner of the Lions... Is
okay, she's kind of 68, 69.
Yeah, I think she made the best coaching choice. Like, Dan Campbell seems like the guy for the Lions, because not only was he a player there, he's got an attitude that most coaches don't have. And who else could we suggest it has been like that in the league as a hiring? I see if you can get the guy I'm thinking of.
What kind of...
Doesn't have the usual attitude of a head coach who was once a player.
Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. Great minds thinking.
Sorry, I misspoke his name.
Right.
But Mike Vrabel. There we go. He was a linebacker for the Patriots.
He was, yeah. And he's just you could tell.
Oh, he played 3 years with the Steelers, 7 years with the Patriots, and then a year with the Chiefs.
Yeah. So
he ended his career in 2010.
He's clearly been a really good hire as well. So
yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree, Matt. I think I'm not against the Meyer hire in any way. I think the Jags are. I think the Meyer hire is quite a good one. It'll be really. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's going to play out, because I really don't think it'll be awful.
Sorry, I'm
thoughts
just
on
looking at
Kellen
Mike,
Moore?
Mike
Sorry,
Vrabel's
couple of
stats
things.
are actually pretty good.
I don't think there's anything to do with race or gender discrimination anymore. There's been encouragement for ages. They just haven't been in the league before and had to work their way up to the top. I agree.
This is the thing.
Disagree.
Both Robert Saleh and Eric Bieniemy have been in the coaching arena, have been up for these positions for the last kind of 2 or 3 years. So you've got to think, why haven't they been picked up sooner?
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. I don't think there's active discrimination. It's just, it is hard to understand why good coaches, who aren't... Sorry, player just ran out the back of the end zone. Good coaches who aren't white white coaches are being hired quicker than non-white coaches.
Yeah, that is something that I've recognised.
Yeah, that's more of it. It's more that we know Eric Bieniemy's good. We've known he's been good for a while. Why is he?
Yeah.
And like I say, we're not suggesting there is discrimination. That's just kind of the thing that people that kind of.
It's just something that
because...
it's something that we don't understand, and we can't see why it would have happened. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, Cat, great couple of points. Cowboys defensive coordinator coming from the UK, baby. Woo! London, baby. Sorry. Great episode.
How much Friends do you watch just on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, not that much. On a yearly basis, I potentially watch it all the way through once a year. But anyway, and Kellen Moore being
fair enough.
Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore will start to be more eyed up by other teams. I think Kellen Moore's that good that good of a coordinator. I think he's still got potentially a couple of years to solidify himself. He needs a couple of years with Dak at quarterback to show how good he is. But
he needs a couple of years. He's, in my opinion, he's not quite fully polished or ready yet. Personally.
Yeah. Yes, no, Matt, yeah, no, I absolutely agree with your point as well. Yeah, I'm not suggesting that there's discrimination in that the league would rather hire an inexperienced white coach than a kind of a black coach, but just more that... Well, this is the thing, like you say, they normally favour experienced coaches rather than new ones. I completely agree. With that as well. But then
you
Eric
look at
Bieniemy
some
is
of the
experienced.
coaches.
And it's just...
Robert Saleh is experienced, and then you think the Eagles picked Nick Sirianni. Who picked up the Colts defensive? Was he the Colts defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I think that was the guy, wasn't it?
No, it was their offensive coordinator. Sorry.
I think that makes sense though, especially with Wentz.
I don't know if it does, because the Colts offense hasn't been great. Hasn't been one of the better coordinators in the league
it's more that he's
a significant amount of time.
Yeah, but it's more that he worked with Frank Reich. And Frank Reich was quarterback coach when he won the Super Bowl, or kind of or just before. I agree with franchise tagging Dak. I think you just need to keep him. Just keep him long enough to work out a deal together. Absolutely. And yes, for any Americans watching us, the UK is amazing. When you're allowed to, come to it, and also don't just go to London. London isn't overrated. I love London. London is great.
London's great.
Also, there's so much beautiful countryside. We don't quite have kind of the amazing mountains and deserts and things that the US does, but we have some really amazing kind of green hills and and just it's amazing. That's a bold statement. Should the Cowboys get rid of Zeke? How many years has he got left on his deal, Sam?
Give me a second.
And we have better food.
Ooh, okay, that doesn't
have
sound
better
good.
Food, sorry.
I'm a bit on the edge of that one. I do love my burgers and chicken.
Yeah, I know, but our food is better for us.
Yes. And we've got badgers. Yes, we do, Tori.
Yes. There should be a team called
Okay,
the
so
Badgers.
Okay, so he carried a cap hit of 13.7 million this year. Next year he carries 16.5. Year after he carries 15. Year after he carries 12.6. Year after he carries 15. Year after that he carries 16.6. So basically he's under contract until he's 31.
Until he's 31.
Yeah,
How old's he now? 26.
26. Last year he signed a 6-year, 90 million contract.
Well, that's a bit of an oof.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cowboys.
50 million of that is guaranteed.
You're kind of stuck with him, I think. Sadly.
That's an average salary of 15 million.
I don't think... I think...
There is a potential out in 2023 where he'll only carry 6.7 million dead cap.
Yeah. I just think specifically this season he has not played well. I think next season's a different year for the Cowboys. They'll have Dak back. Hopefully their O-line will become a little bit kind of more secure. Also, it'll be second year of Mike McCarthy, so he hopefully has figured some things out.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy just isn't a good head coach. So
no, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be. I think next year will give us a broader picture of what's going on at the Cowboys, and then I think from there they're going to have to make some decisions.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about Zeke's contract, sorry, just looking at it. So this year he carries a 24.5 million dead cap.
Good.
Next year it's only 10. Then 2023, when they have the potential out, it's 6.7. Year after that, it's 2.6. The last 2 years of his contract, he doesn't carry a dead cap.
Okay, interesting.
So you could potentially get rid of him after the 2024 season and not carry any dead cap hit at all.
Yeah. Wow. I don't think Jerry Jones can make those sorts of decisions. No, I don't think Jerry Jones has been a great decision maker.
No.
Also, fair play to John Elway. I think I may have said this before. John Elway being really self-aware and going,
decision.
I have not been a good general manager for the Broncos, therefore I'm going to promote myself and hire a GM instead who will do a better job than I did. And I was kind of like, that's a really clever move. Keeps himself in the company, but at the same time, But
I mean, it's a nice thing that he has realised this, and he is kind of like a part owner or something at this point, I think.
I think.
But he said he's had this top exec role in the franchise for a long time, and so he said, "I'm just going to go become the president of football operations."
And I'm going to not be kind of the full signal caller for building this team.
Yeah.
And I'm like you say, Matt, I really respect that because he's recognised that he hasn't done a good enough job and said that I need to get someone else in to do a better job.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think actually Jerry Jones should do something similar. I think he needs to not be kind of. I know his son does a lot of GMing as well, but actually,
Jerry Jones likes to keep it in the family, and I'm not sure if that's really helped them recently.
Yeah. Did he create a whole new position? Not. Yes and no. So lots of teams have had kind of director of football operations. It's kind of saying general manager without saying general manager. It's basically
When was the last Cowboys Super Bowl win?
Over 20 years ago.
I'll look that up.
Okay. So director of football operations is. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how it's different to general manager. I know that the Jaguars had a general manager, and then they brought in Tom Coughlin to be director of football personnel and stuff. It basically adds another adds another person into your. What's the word for it, Sam?
Roster.
Not roster.
Or front office.
Front office. Thank you. To look at those positions. So it's a way of John Elway going, I haven't made these decisions well enough. I want to stay in the office. I want to be a part of the office.
Yeah.
I go the hiring process and still be involved in the
He's
team.
kind of like, I still believe I have something to give to this franchise, but I'm not being... but this isn't what I'm excelling at.
Yeah.
Also, Jerry Jones has won 3 with the Cowboys, 3 Super Bowls, in his first 7 years of ownership, and then have won none since.
Wow, that's something.
The last one was 96.
Yeah.
Also, Kat, you asked the question, Peyton Manning to the Hall of Fame. I don't think that needs to be a question. That's not a question.
He deserves it, absolutely.
He is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, absolutely, no question.
Yeah.
What was the? Yeah, that was what I was going to say. Also, on the fun fact of owning teams, the San Francisco 49ers are now like 22% owners
I thought it
of
was
Leeds
37.
United football team.
Yeah.
They already owned a small stake. I didn't realize, and now they own even more. So,
Yeah.
fun fact.
Or it's the company behind the 49ers.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good idea.
Also,
it
fun
gives
fact
Leeds
on
more
owning
money.
teams, Green Bay Packers is the only fan-owned team in the NFL.
Yeah. Also, fun fact
Which is
on
pretty
owning
cool.
teams: the guys who own the Buccaneers own Manchester United.
Yes, they do.
Imagine winning the Super Bowl and the Premier League in the same year.
Yeah.
That'd be something. So, talking about that,
That's why I'm cheering for the Chiefs.
Yes, talking about the Chiefs. My goodness, how good the Chiefs are! I just can't wrap my head around how good they are, and I think I'm starting. I think I'm not Liverpool and the Jaguars. No, the Jaguars owner also owns Fulham, I think. They don't have the...
Something like that.
I think he owns Fulham. I think that's the other one. I may be wrong there.
What's his
Sam
name
can
again?
check it for me.
I can't remember his name. Don't worry, I got it.
Right.
It's Shad Khan, isn't
Shad
it?
Khan, yeah.
He owns Jaguars and Fulham. Yeah. He's the co-owner of All Elite Wrestling as well.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't think United can win the league either, Matt. But and yes, what a world it would be if we could own football teams, huh? Like it would.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Just take the execs by the scruff of the neck. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was going to say, I think I finally sort of understand why. Well, one of the things that Mahomes does that is why the Chiefs are so good. And yeah, it's in part to the O-line, but that's a flag, dang it. Yes, Shad Khan was going to buy the O2, and people were not O2,
Yeah.
Wembley. He wants to buy Wembley. Because I can't remember what I say. I don't know why. It's because he has the money,
Yeah.
and also it can help American-British relations. But everyone was not happy with that. I didn't really understand it well enough. Yeah, Matt. We sit here and we're like, yes, we could own NFL teams. Look at us playing Madden.
Yeah.
To be fair, when Sam plays Madden or builds teams on Madden, he's very good. So yes, the one thing I've noticed
because I know what to do.
Yes, and also
I'm very not personal about it. I am literally like, if you've got a massive contract and I can't cut you, you're going to be traded away. Literally, like, yeah.
Yeah.
I am very. Yeah. I gut the team essentially from anything that's not going to help, and then build it up again.
Yeah.
In the way I want to build it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking about the Chiefs game. Going back to that game, finally. What Mahomes does really well is throw the ball quickly.
Yeah.
Is what I've discovered is that you watch all the highlights, that ball is out of his hand in a couple of seconds. And the way I was describing this to Tori, most NFL teams try to have a balanced offense or a run-first offense, mainly because it's easier. It's easier to be good at running than passing. And so what teams do is establish the run, and then that opens up play-action passes, and it also opens up your passing game because they don't know whether you're going to run or pass.
Exactly.
What the Chiefs do, and what the Seahawks sort of did at the start of the season, was do pass first. Now, this is a lot harder because it's a whole lot easier to cover the pass than it is to cover the run, because when you've got the pass, you've got these massive defensive linemen coming running at you.
Yeah.
And and it's easier. It's easier for an offensive lineman to push in a run block than it is to kind of step backwards and kind of hold a
Yeah, so pass
rusher.
blocking, your O linemen are on the back foot essentially.
Yeah.
So they're kind of trying to surround the quarterback, trying not to be pushed backwards. Run blocking, you're the one. As an offensive lineman, you're the one pushing forwards. You can just pancake the player or just shove them off their feet, anything.
Yeah.
As long as you don't commit a penalty, of course.
Yeah. And so that's why
yeah.
that's why it's really impressive that those kind of teams are able to do pass first offenses and kind of use the running game as a relief, as a backup, and also there are holes then in the running game when people expect you to pass it. But the reason that the Chiefs are able to do it so well is number one, absolutely, Matt, like you've just said, Mahomes is not only good on pressure, he is rarely pressured because his O-line is good.
Yeah.
Number two, he's great under pressure. He's relatively agile.
This was something I was about to say, that Mahomes is, it just ties in briefly with what you're saying, is that Mahomes is really, really good at not giving up negative plays.
Yeah.
Whether it be a sack or an interception or anything, he's really good at making something out of nothing, making something happen in a play, be it scrambling out of the pocket to get to throw the ball away, be it throwing it just behind a receiver so that no one can catch it.
Yeah.
He's really good at that, and
also,
really good at not taking negative yardage.
And also to go with those, this is the thing I've noticed. If you watch his highlights, he throws the ball really quickly, and that's basically your number one tool in a pass-first offense. If you don't give the other team time to rush you, so if the ball is out of your hands in 2 seconds, 2 seconds is not enough time for the defense to come and sack you. And but then that goes to scheming as well, is that Andy Reid has created such a great scheme that guys are just open. Guys are open within kind of a couple of seconds that he can throw the ball. And yeah, it's like you say, you barely see Mahomes get sacked. And I looked up some statistics at kind of Mahomes and Brady, thinking for the Super Bowl. Mahomes is slightly better in every category to Brady, apart from sacks. Interestingly, Brady has been sacked like 2 less times and given up like 5 less yards or something. But you'd say also Brady is hardly ever sacked. These guys are elite quarterbacks because, like you say, they're great under pressure. They read pressure really well, and that, like I say, that is why Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers lost their games. They took sacks. They were not. They weren't ready for the pressure. Usually, Aaron Rodgers is very good at it, but for this game, he struggled.
Yeah, the Bucs had called his number against the pressure this entire
they really
season.
Have.
To be honest.
Yeah, and we were saying in our last stream that they'd got worse. It's clearly something they worked on for that game and nailed.
Yeah.
And also that's the other thing, is that, like I say, he reads the pressure well. He's finds those gaps, and then when he's always keeping his eyes downfield. Even if he's being rushed, he's keeping his eyes downfield because he has this relationship with his receivers that when their route is gone, they know to stay alive, to be aware, to find space.
This is what makes Travis Kelce the best tight end in the league. His rapport with Mahomes, his ability to know when Mahomes has gone into scramble drill and to get into open space. And Kelce has just been one of the best receivers to do that in the league. Not even tight ends, best receivers, just full stop.
Yeah. And if you've got someone with the speed of Tyreek Hill, you can't keep up with him. You've got. This is the thing.
You have to zone cover Tyreek Hill.
The Chiefs' offensive weapons, not just thinking about how amazing Mahomes is as a quarterback, thinking about Kelce and Hill, and you're looking at McCole Hardman as well, like the other receivers and stuff.
Yeah.
You have to sack Mahomes. Like, you're not going to... Oh, that was an awful throw. Like, you have to sack Mahomes. Like, that's
you're not going to be able to force Mahomes to hold onto the ball and then throw it away every play. And because that takes up, 5-10 seconds per play if he's holding onto the ball.
Yeah. If you imagine... if you imagine there's no O-line or D-line, he just snaps the ball and it's wide receivers versus DBs. Yeah. It is almost impossible to stay open the entire time because you've got to keep, because it's basically a running race. You've got to keep up with them kind of all the time and stay really close to them at any time. And that's the thing, is if you've got someone with the speed of Tyreek Hill, he's able to cut
or the
a corner
catching ability of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to keep up for that long. And the Chiefs did a lot of that, and they do a lot of running with their wide receivers because they've got those speedy guys as well. And it's just nigh on unstoppable. The only way to stop it is to put pressure on the quarterback. And this is why, if we're going predictions, I know I said this about the Green Bay game, how the Bucs just couldn't win. They played very, very well. Like, fair play to them.
They did, but I think the Packers' defense imploded.
And this is my thing. The Chiefs' defense, kind of, it is beatable, absolutely. But I think where the Chiefs' defense thrives is in its safeties.
Yeah.
And so the cornerbacks may get burned by kind of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin stuff, but they're going to have to keep making these incremental gains up the field, because those safeties are going to cover. Those safeties are going to hit hard. It's going to be really difficult.
Yeah. Tyrann Mathieu had a really good season.
Yeah, and Sorensen's had a good season as well, despite kind of the dirty hit. But also, their D-line put a lot of pressure on Josh Allen, and they will be ready to put a lot of pressure on Tom Brady.
Tyrann Mathieu had 6 interceptions this year.
Yeah. And I think, the Chiefs...
allowed a passer rating of 60.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah. That's really good. I think the Chiefs' defense can be beaten by Brady. I think their O-line's good enough. I think the Bucs' offense has enough talent, to beat the Chiefs' defense. But the only way that Bucs defense, I don't think that, if you look at the Bucs' defense, they're the best against the run in the league, but they're like 20th in passing. And you're coming up against a pass-heavy offense, not just a pass-heavy offense, the best one of the best best offenses total, kind of. And you've got to compete against him the entire game, and the only way you can be able to do that is to constantly put pressure on him. But Mahomes gets that ball out so quickly. I personally just cannot.
He's actually not been the quickest this year. He's been one of the slower. 2.89 time to throw.
That's still really
2.89 seconds. It's quick, but it's not as quick as everyone else in the league this year.
Is that
it's in fact one of the slowest.
Is that because of kind of scramble plays?
Probably. I mean, you've got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield, and Jalen Hurts, the people above him.
Yeah. Ben, as far as I'm aware, Ben's the quickest, isn't he, Sam? Or is he?
Yes, he is. Yeah, Big Ben. 2.3. Which is, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But Ryan Fitzpatrick, Andy Dalton, Brandon Allen, Nick Foles, all there. So it is that scramble drill that does.
I was going to say, because if you watch him play, if he's not scrambling, that ball is out very quickly.
I was watching some Trevor Lawrence highlights and a bit of analysis of his play. He does a very similar thing.
Yeah.
He's always keeping his eyes downfield. He's always going through his reads. If he doesn't see something, he'll run out. He likes to throw open receivers.
Yeah.
And basically use his movement in the pocket to get receivers open and stuff.
Yeah. So I can't, unless the Buccaneers have amazing pressure on Mahomes, I cannot see. I can't see a way that the Buccaneers can beat the Chiefs. Personally.
No, I will personally. This might be the only time I actually cheer for the Chiefs, to be honest.
Because I was just thinking, how did the 49ers go up 20-10 against the Chiefs? That was stopping the run and putting pressure on.
Yeah.
And so, but ultimately Mahomes still won that game. So I think they weren't able to keep it up for the entire game. Will the Bucs be able to?
Yeah, no, I think another thing is both Jordan Whitehead and Antoine Winfield are going to be questionable for the game. and that's a big reason why the Packers were still in the game late.
Yeah.
On Sunday. So I think that's going to be a big thing to watch out for.
It's going to be good. 2 weeks' time, is that?
Yes, I believe.
Weird non-Pro Bowly week this week.
It's going to be the 7th.
Yeah.
Of Feb.
So, do you know what you guys have to look forward to next week? Flag of the Play Awards week.
Woo! I've got a Word document, and I'll let you know how many. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can get it up. How many awards have I got at the moment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I currently have 23 awards. I might add some more. Or I'll be in contact with Nathan about whether...
Yeah.
And then... yeah, so I've got some links as well, which will be... so we've got some funny awards in there, and so I'll have the links to certain plays and things like that.
Do you know what? Just talking about clips and stuff. I was it Kat who sent? I may have even been you. I can't remember. Someone sent me a really funny video of all the Michael Thomas touchdowns this year.
I put that on the group chat.
There was one.
There was one. It came up on my suggested, and I was just like, "That's too funny not to share."
That's so funny, yeah. That's brilliant. So yeah, let us know of some awards that we can do for next week. We've got some funny ones. We've got the actual ones. Who are we giving MVP and Offensive Player of the Year and all of these things.
Yeah.
Also, just a quick mention because I love him, Josh Allen. Well, just all
incredible.
Incredible. Like the Bills, I think we are doing the Jameis Winston Awards. Winston Turnover Award. It's already been picked as well. It's sealed in the envelope.
And I have found a funny clip as well to go with it.
Brilliant.
So yeah, if you are coming to stream to next week, make sure to have like maybe an extra screen or something that you can check these clips on or something like that, because there will be a lot of them.
And then what was it? So yeah, I felt that the Bills didn't play badly. I think the Chiefs just played better. I think it was...
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't see much of the game, but that's what I got from it. I was a little bit in mourning that night, so I was just kind of, yeah.
No, I didn't watch the game. I watched the kind of went back and watched highlights and things. I don't think they played badly by any means. I just think the Chiefs' defense played better than the Bills were expecting, and the Bills were kind of starstruck almost. Like, my goodness, we were not expecting them to be this good.
Yeah.
Allen got pushed around. I think that was it. We've said all year that we didn't think the Chiefs' kind of rush, pass rush was kind of going to make that much of a difference, but actually they came out and did well. They came out and did in this game, and I think that's good news for them against the Buccaneers. No, I agree. But kind of, yeah, absolutely, Matt. He wasn't bad, but he didn't make great decisions with those. Fatigue might be a big part of that as well, Kat. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have obviously kind of had the bye week to prepare.
No, I think that is a big thing.
And
I think the Chiefs realised with the Browns game we could have lost that game.
And also they could have won that game by
possibly
a lot more.
should have lost. Yeah, they possibly should have lost that Browns game. And so I think they kind of realised, we actually need to practice. We need to do well. We need to put some practice in. And the Bucs do have home field advantage.
I don't think it's going to make a massive difference because
the Chiefs.
I just don't think it will. It's like,
yeah.
Because also I don't think it'll make a massive difference because I think it was the Atlanta Patriots Super Bowl. That it was really clear who had the more fans in the stadium. I think it being in Tampa Bay does not necessarily mean there are going to be more Tampa Bay fans in that.
Well, I mean, there are 7,500 key workers from the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they're Tampa Bay fans. Like it's
Yeah.
So it will be really interesting.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see whether it does make a difference. Because obviously
The home field advantage this year has been a lot less than it has been in other years, so I don't think it'll be a massive advantage. I still think it will be, but I haven't seen fans in a home stadium this year be as big as it has been in previous years.
The only difference I've seen it make this year is in college football, actually, because there just haven't been enough fans to make like a really loud difference. A great question. I'm sorry, I was trying to get round to it. Who retires this year? I agree, Matt. I think Ben goes. Not Ben, Breeze even.
Breeze, yeah.
I don't think Ben goes. I think Ben's got 1 year in his contract. Signing Dwayne Haskins makes me feel like this is Ben's last year.
Yeah.
That he will play that year. He will play that last year on his contract, and then they'll develop a rookie or Haskins or someone underneath him. Rivers is obviously gone.
Yeah.
Great guy. I don't think Brady retires, especially if he wins. If he wins the Super Bowl, he potentially.
I can see him retiring. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah. I knew Rivers had already gone. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Larry Legend retired.
Did he actually retire, or was he just thinking about retiring?
Pretty sure he did. I'll look it up.
Either way, I can see him retiring.
Yeah, I want Brady to retire. Just go already.
I think I very much doubt Brady will retire. Even if he wins, I feel like he'll be like, yeah, I've got more years.
Okay, he's yet to announce his future. Actually, well, that was 4th of Jan. Okay, so he's basically Larry Fitzgerald has said if he's not playing for Arizona, he's not playing.
Okay. They need to re-sign him.
Give me a second. Yeah, so he's a free agent at the moment.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so last year was a 1 year contract. So he doesn't have a contract.
Do you think I'll leave this up? Leave this up for debate. Does Richard Sherman retire this year?
Potentially.
Because he said it doesn't look like he's going to re-sign.
Yeah, so his contract ends. I don't see anyone picking him up either.
I can see someone
He'll be 33.
I can see the Jaguars wanting a veteran corner presence. I feel like that makes the most sense to me. But
yeah.
Adrian Peterson.
I can see him coming back.
I think Adrian Peterson probably. He's good in a backup. He's yet to prove that he can't run in a backup role. So
yeah.
Larry should be re-signed. I think he's a really good kind of.
He is one of the best veteran presence you can ever want or need. He is. Yeah, he's incredible. You should see some of the things he's done this year for the Cardinals, on the field and off the field. He's just. He's great.
Having veteran guys who have been there a while really helps young guys to be like to not get too egotistical.
And to go, this is kind of.
You want to aspire to be that person as well.
Yeah.
Was there anything else
Nathan,
on our list
does Frank Gore retire?
No, he's still got juice in him as well.
He's got not much. He hasn't got much, but he's also doesn't have a contract for next year.
Steelers do need some veterans, or at least, if not some veterans, they need someone to step up and be like, dudes. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say to Steelers getting AJ Green?
Steelers getting AJ Green. I can see that.
He's a free agent after this year.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
And I don't really see them picking up.
I think.
Or giving him another contract, to be honest.
No, I don't. I think he goes.
Allen Robinson becomes a free agent.
Oh, I want him back in Jacksonville, please. Like. That
would be nice, yeah.
I think I can see Jags going with one of these kind of number one receivers in the off season.
Yeah, Will Fuller will be open.
Yeah. The Bucks are 5-1 at home. 5-1 at home. Surely they would have played 8 games at home.
Yeah.
And maybe. Still, to be fair, if they've won at least 5, then they have been.
They've been 5-3 at home.
5-3.
They've been 6-2 away though, so.
So basically, it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Also, they lost to the Chiefs earlier in the year, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think Chiefs win that, but you know.
Yeah. It will be very.
I wanted to talk a little bit actually about the draft.
Okay.
I've been watching a little bit of Trevor Lawrence highlights and some Justin Fields and some Mac Jones, all quarterbacks, to be drafted in the first round this year. Trevor Lawrence is just outstanding.
He is.
He's just outstanding. You can see how he's playing, and he's looking at his initial read. He's staring it down and then moving to his other reads. And so he's moved the safety with his eyes, and then he's going to his other reads and getting the ball out. And he's got a really good throwing motion, and he's able to get the ball out quickly and efficiently, and he can throw it fast, he can throw it short. He's got an incredible ball speed as well, the velocity he throws the balls with, how far he can get the balls. And also, when he's running the ball, once he gets going, he's very difficult to stop, and very difficult to catch up with.
He's a bit like Josh Allen in that respect.
He is. He's incredibly like Josh Allen, with his arm strength as well, more than anything, really.
Yeah.
And that he's got speed better than some of the corners in college football.
Yeah.
He was outrunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Kat, that I don't think, like I've said this entire time, I didn't think the Buccaneers were going to get anywhere. But I don't think it's on Brady. I think that's the point. I think the Buccaneers' defense has played better than I thought it would, and that's what's got them there. So like I say, I said in both the Saints and the Packers, I can't see a way of kind of the Buccaneers winning this, but they found ways. So I have to change my mind and say, even though I'm like 99% certain that
the Bucs will put up a fight.
Yeah, I'm 99% certain still the Chiefs win that, but I'm allowing myself 1% because of how well they've played.
Yeah.
Do many Super Bowls happen where the two teams haven't played each other all season? It's possible.
I'm pretty sure that happens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it happens quite often as well, because I say it happens quite often. There are literally every team.
Was it last year? Chiefs 49ers.
Yeah, Chiefs 49ers haven't played each other. It happens quite often. Teams don't play each other because you play your division twice. You play a total of, how many teams do you play a total of? 13.
You play your division, which is 3. You play them twice. You play another division. Oh, you play 2 other divisions, which is 8. So that's 11.
I was more thinking you play 16 games minus the 3 repeated ones. 13.
Yeah.
Doing the maths. So 13 out of 32, and not including yourself, that's 14. So there's a very high chance that you won't play the person you meet in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a really high chance because you only end up playing 4 teams in the opposing conference.
Yes.
There's a really high chance because actually, sorry, I'd scrap that, because you're playing someone in the opposing conference. There's 16 teams in the opposing conference, and you will play 4 of them a year. So
yes,
that's kind of 12. Yeah. So it's quite a high chance.
Sorry, I'm trying to count this out in my head. So you play the 3 in your division. Yeah. You then play the other another 3 from in the same position you finished in your division.
Don't think about it like that. It's confusing like that. Sorry.
Then you play another 4.
Yeah.
Takes it from your conference. Then you play another 4 from the other conference, which is 13.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Got there
That was a
in the
long.
end.
That was a long way round, but yeah. So it's rare for the teams to have played each other before the Super Bowl. Yes, as far as I'm aware.
I think so, yeah.
And yeah, but when they met, it was 27-24. So, and I think that's probably about right. I think it's going to be good. It's going to be a good Super Bowl, actually. I think it's...
It will be. I'm not sure how much I want to watch it, to be honest.
No.
That Packers game took it out of me.
Yeah. I think people... This is something I talked a little bit about earlier. And I'm not going to go into it too much now. We talk about Brady too much. I think we talk about... Just in general, we talk about him too much. He's just... Yes, he's good, but he's also a player on an entire team.
Yeah.
And I think...
I've come to really dislike him from the amount that we talk about him and the amount that he's just there every year.
It's just, if you think about it, ultimately, sports is kind of community, entertainment, fun, all of these things. And if one person is always winning, it's not exciting.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, fair play for him being the greatest athlete. And I think I think eventually Mahomes will become into this position because like this is back-to-back Super Bowls. Like eventually, I think Mahomes might get into this position as well. And that's why I like that the NFL tries to keep things as even as possible because it keeps it competitive and it keeps it exciting. And And
but I think for me, it's like Brady's got to the Super Bowl so many times. It's not always off of the back of his talent.
it's like, yes, he's good.
But a lot of the time, he's a great player, yeah. But he's been helped with some incredible defenses.
Yeah, exactly. Praise the Lord for the Rams not going to the Super Bowl. Absolutely, like that was not a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, so you're saying Mahomes might not have a great team around him every year. And I think with Mahomes it matters less because he's such a talented player. Brady isn't the most talented, he's one of the smartest. And there's a difference there. Like Mahomes and Rodgers are some of the most talented QBs you'll ever see.
Yeah. But
Brady is one of the smartest.
Yeah.
I
fully expect Brady to clutch up. Like it's more that I don't know. what
Just retire already, please.
I'm trying to remember what I was going to say and I've forgotten now. No, it's fine.
I just think it's time to let a younger generation of quarterbacks come through.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I agree, but at the same time, I think we've got to appreciate how well he's done and how he's managed to stay.
Of course, he's been incredible.
To get to
and his longevity is amazing.
He's been good enough to lead his team to win games, but I think it bothers me every year that we put quarterbacks on a pedestal. I think that's more what I'm bothered about. I'm bothered that we keep putting quarterbacks on a pedestal when actually there's so much more that goes into being a Super Bowl winning team than your quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I keep referring to this study that people did of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, and I think they found that actually quarterbacks more often than not were not very good. But kind of they averaged like 60% or something, which isn't kind of, you want better than that. And
I think it's just showing that the defense is the thing that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I've completely forgotten what my point was going to be. But,
Who's the second choice for the Bucks? Who do they have?
It's a good question. I don't know anything about
that. I knew this. Blaine Gabbert.
Ah, good old Blaine Gabbert.
Not great, but yeah.
No.
But yeah, I thought
that was my point. Talking about Brady too much. I think the fact that we talk about Brady too much and put not just Brady on a pedestal, but kind of all quarterbacks on a pedestal, we end up having ridiculous conversations. So, kind of, I've seen lots of posts because the Bucks have got to the Super Bowl that we're finally answered who's better, Brady or Belichick, and actually every comment on that post was like, this is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Yes, Brady's in the Super Bowl, but have you looked at the team around him? Also, have you looked at the team that Belichick had to coach? They lost.
Yeah.
Like they lost. What was the stat or something? It was like 75% of their linebacker core, either to injury, COVID, or trading away and stuff.
Yeah, this year I think it was something like 75% of their snaps last year on their linebackers, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important positions.
Yeah, well, that's a defensive position, isn't it? They also, it just,
yeah.
We had a lot of that. Yeah, exactly. As I'm sure Matt will tell you, the Patriots team this year was just not the same. That was my point. I think it's ridiculous to start making these assertions.
Yeah.
And because we pedestal people, I think that's my main thing. And it's a little bit with Mahomes as well. I think we pedestal Mahomes and actually forget that you look at the players he has around him that make him so great. That's just my personal opinion. Are there any other kind of things people want to talk about before we head off and think about more awards?
And go snack. I'm really hungry.
Oh, that's all right. We will see people next week then for awards and then Super Bowl.
Get ready for lots and lots of links to open and look at.
Yeah.
Funny NFL plays. I've made sure to get some good ones.
Feel free to follow us on here. Follow us on Instagram.
Feel free to let us know any other funny awards you want us to do. We may already have them here, but it's always worth a shot to just let us know of something you found funny that we can say. Because that's going to be the point of next week, is just let's have some fun.
And we've got some great ideas for the off season and next season. We might just tell us what you're thinking. We're thinking at the moment that we might go to a camera format rather than a game format, because then we can talk more about things. Or I might have some recorded gameplay alongside some camera stuff. We're going to keep our content pretty much exactly the same. We're just how we go about it might change. Hits close to home, but very fair, Matt. Let us, we love getting to talk about our stuff, but kind of part of the reason we stream is because we thought other people might find it interesting. So we want to keep it interesting for you guys. Let us know what you want us to, what you want to see. Do we need to do more with our stream and stuff? I've done some research and I'm trying to get better for you guys.
It would be great to have some feedback on how that is all going and what you want to see next and everything. So
Wentz Award trashiest season. Least improved. Oh, I like those. Those are good.
Least improved's good.
Least improved. I think we've got underrated season. I think
we've got underrated player and overrated player.
I think my favourite one at the moment is How Do I Donate My Leg Award.
I like that one. I personally like the He Said What Award.
He Said What.
Because there could be multiple instances there.
I think we'll head off, and thank you so much for watching us. How on earth are you good? That's a good one. Cam Newton best dressed. Oh, great ones.
We've already got that. Or I've written that down anyways,
Most likely to meet in a hospital. That's a great one.
That's really good.
Maybe. Do you know what I need to do? I need to, I'll try and I'll try and be more active on Instagram so we can have these conversations. I'll do more stories where you can type things in. Let us know what you're doing. Just thank you so much for supporting us, whether it's just this week or every week. It means the world to us.
It means so much. It's amazing.
That people tune in to listen to us. Didn't think it would be possible. So thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Yeah, bye.